for to join us from their home in Granbury, Texas. Thank you so much for joining us again. Daniel, the last time we spoke, I mean, there were so many emotions. We saw in that video you were crying because this has been, very hard to describe and very hard and difficult to live with. Unlike our last guest, this wasn't a medical condition, technically, that people understood. She went in and had an infection. Your memory loss was a mystery. Like, why all of a sudden this dad, this loving husband would wake up and believe he was 15 years old. Do you know any more about this case?
The only thing that we know is that it's pretty rare and that it's possibly due to severe stress.
Right.
Your body just goes into almost protection mode. You just get so overwhelmed that your body just shuts down. And in my case, I end up start having seizures and complications and things like that. And my body just had one day is like, I've had enough. And it shut down and tried a reboot, I guess, is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, Ruth, and that's what we talked about, is that the stress that Daniel was experiencing likely triggered this self-preservation, right? He goes into, I'm 15 years old, so that means you have less responsibility, you have less things. You're a kid. I mean, you are worried about what 15-year-olds are worried about. But that left you, Ruth, shouldering the load, uplifting him and the family. And I saw at the time how it was taking an effect on your mental health.
Yeah, I have not done well, I guess, the past 8 or so months. Just the reality of everything is kind of setting in, that this is possibly long-term. And I was still a little bit under the impression that it was going to get better. And it's been really difficult. Just as a wife, raising my husband, it's messing with my head. And I wish that somebody else could kind of take over that part, and just let me take care of the normal wife stuff.
And it's just, we talk about waking up to a life you don't recognize. I mean, this is the truest sense of it. Have you, Daniel, regained any of your, like right now, how old do you process yourself as?
I try as best within the last, I'd say 6 months, 4 months, I've been trying to definitely think more adult-wise, try to be more adult-oriented, taking on the responsibility. So I would say I would try at least 75% adult, 75% 37 years old, and about the other 25, I still stick in my in my young age.
I know we connected you all with the medical director at Northwell Health South Oaks Hospital. That's in New York. Board-certified psychiatrist, Dr. Yusuf Hassoun. You've seen a lot of doctors. Are you also in counseling to try and support Ruth here? Because, I mean, obviously, Ruth, I see the tears, and you have the most beautiful, adorable, dimpled smile. But,
Thank you.
I mean, we're all sitting here talking about lives we can't imagine. We see how hard this is on you.
Yeah, it is. There's no instruction book for this, and we've kind of just been left to ourselves to figure it out. He has psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, and that's just kind of what dominoed everything. I didn't realize the last time we had talked, but we've learned a little bit more about his condition, and memory loss is a part of that. Just it's normally not that significant.
Yeah.
And so it all kind of makes more sense now, but it's a little harder to swallow because there's not really a treatment for it other than cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's just a really long process of maybe re-brainwashing yourself to handle trauma and stress in a healthy way. And he hasn't done that his whole life, apparently.
Well, you know what, but honestly, obviously this is the worst, one of the worst case scenarios of it, but we talk so much about the ramifications of stress, right? And I think we've all been through a very stressful 3 years, and when you don't handle it or don't have the tools to handle it, the body can react in incredible ways. And in this case with Daniel, as you said, and that was what resonated with me over and over, is that your body went in to protect you. And the way it protected you was to revert to this young age when all of the responsibilities and all of the stress that you face as an adult man were not a part of the story.